In the world of Teen Titans, they recruited Lobo's daughter, which means that her father is eventually going to come and visit. They also got a genie that was bound to a ring with a mysterious past. And Robin, well, he started to question things. This is Teen Titans Rebirth finale full story right here at the Comicstorian channel. And this is the place on YouTube where we take your favorite comic books and graphic novels and break them down into digestible bites so that we can then read them dramatically back to you. Here at Comicstorian, over the course of a year, we will tell you a full story of your favorite comic book. Normally anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 issues long. Well, eventually that becomes difficult for you to find here on the channel, so we create these full stories, the entirety of a year's worth of work in one video. Today we're going to discover what is the relationship that Lobo's daughter has with her father, who is Jin, and what is going on with Damian Wayne and, well, the villain trying to end him. Let's get into those issues of, I think, 25 to 48 of Teen Titans Rebirth. Late night at the corner store in the Bronx, the bell rings as a customer walks in. A man calls out asking where the lime chili pork rinds are, and the cashier continues playing on his phone telling the man that they are beneath the baked beans right next to the ho-hos. The man then asks what about the strawberry milk, and the cashier tells him that they are all out. Won't have any until next Tuesday. The man then asks how is that supposed to help him now though, and the cashier looks up asking, I'm sorry? And Lobo leans down telling him, no you ain't, Andar 2. The cashier steps back telling him that his name is Andy and he doesn't know what, but Lobo stops him. So you do! I'm what you call a bounty hunter. Kenjar Rowe sends his regards. Andy takes out his gun asking, are you on drugs or something? And he pulls the trigger. Andy shoots through the pork rinds with Lobo sighing, you dumb bastard. Lucky for you, the contract said I could bring you in dead or alive. Lobo takes out his gun and then he fires and the entire store explodes, throwing Andy out of it. As he gets up, the alien beneath the skin pulls out the rest of his damaged mask, shouting, Door! You're destroying everything! And Lobo throws his chain, wrapping it around Andar 2, telling him, it sucks that all you Dorians gotta be part of that hive mind, huh? As Lobo pulls Andar 2 back, he calls Lobo a real jackass, and Lobo lights his cigar, telling him, I'm gonna take that as a compliment. And when he finishes, he stomps down with a loud sklurch, and he laughs. As he loads up his bounty, a voice comes over the comms telling him that there is a job for him. They call themselves the Teen Titans. Lobo secures Andar 2, telling the voice, yeah, I really don't do boy bands. And the voice shows a picture of Crush telling him there's someone on the team that he might be interested in. She claims that she is his daughter. Lobo tells the voice, I ain't got no kids, at least none that I haven't killed already. And the voice says, please check your account. You can see that your normal fee has been tripled. Lobo sits down on his bike and he tells him, well, hot damn, you just found the key to my aching heart. Who's calling anyway? The voice tells Lobo that he can address him as the other. Now, we go to the current time at Mercy Hall, where we last left off our storyline with Lobo squeezing Crush's neck, stating, and that's how we got to this happy little family reunion. But see, you can't really be my daughter because... He sniffs the air around Crush and then says, well, I'll be damned, you are one of mine. Roundhouse breaks a chair over Lobo and then turns to Crush. Yeah, I'm gonna need a minute, and he throws her into a pile of rubble. Lobo turns back, knocking Roundhouse away, asking, who's next? Come to Papa, you bastards! Roundhouse bounces back, shouting, here comes the thunder. Lobo sighs, grabbing Roundhouse out of the air, telling him, I forgot how much I hate kids. He begins to beat on all of the Teen Titans using Roundhouse as a weapon, and when no one can stand, he begins to laugh. But Kid Flash runs in, hitting Lobo a dozen times in the chest, yelling, I really hate bullies with big mouths. Lobo punches through the hits, knocking Kid Flash down, telling him, you gotta get back up. That was only a love tap. He then goes in to finish off Kid Flash, but as he swings, his body is teleported into Crush's room. He looks up at all of the pictures of himself on the wall, telling her, yeah, you know, someone's a little obsessed. The box with "Oh bless her chain" rattles, and Lobo then asks, oh, what the hell is that? Just then, Jin appears telling him, you must be punished for what you've done to Crush! Prepare to! But as she casts her magic, Lobo breaks off a piece of the mirror, reflecting it back, causing Jin to hit herself with her own spell. He laughs. "Oh, I ain't killed one of you in a long time. This is the gig that just keeps on giving and giving." But before he could finish her off, Crush charges in, knocking Lobo out of the building, shouting, "Don't you touch her!" Lobo gets up asking, "Oh, you want to play? All right, 3 points for the main man." He knocks Crush into a basketball hoop, ripping the pole out and then batting her across the city over into the train station. She begins to get back up, but Lobo comes crashing down, telling her, "Oh, this is more fun than I expected." She jumps up and over Lobo, getting ready to kick, telling him that she's got some questions for him. But as she kicks, Lobo grabs her by the ankle, twisting it, telling her, "Oh, I got some questions too." And as Crush's leg breaks, Lobo asks, "I need to know if you got a healing factor, seeing as you're only half the cesarean that I am, which also means that you're way out of your league." Lobo picks Crush up by her hair, slamming her into the train car, and then overthrows it on her. Jin radios in, stating that they're going to have to release LOBO'S for her, but Crush yells, "Don't! LOBO'S came from Lobo. The chain might not listen to me." But then a shadow forms over Crush, and Lobo asks, "Oh, where did you go? Daddy misses you." Just then he slams the train cart down on Crush, telling her, "You know, you really should be thanking me. All those years I wasn't around to mess you up. That's about to change." Lobo digs Crush out of the debris, and then Crush spits into Lobo's face, telling him, "Bite me." As Lobo tosses her out of the cart, telling her, "You're starting to cut into my me time now. So how about we wrap this one up? Oh, and when you get to hell, make sure you say hi to all my other little mistakes." As Lobo stomps, Kid Flash runs in, grabbing Crush, telling everyone that they need to get out of here, somewhere safe, now! Lobo begins to laugh. "You can hide, but the main man's got your scent. You're as good as dead." Later at Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Kid Flash sets Crush down in a barn, and Roundhouse says that he doesn't look so good. Kid Flash tells him that if he got the beating from Lobo that she did, he wouldn't be looking so great either. A few moments later, Crush jolts up, stating, "What the hell just happened? What is this place?" And Jin tells her that she's safe, but Crush gets up, telling everyone, "Get out of my way!" Jin holds up the rattling box of the chain of LOBO'S, stating that it would not be wise for her to leave so suddenly. Her stubbornness will bring about her end. That would not only be a great loss, but an unnecessary one. So please, let them and LOBO'S help. Crush wipes some blood off of her chin, telling them that she needs some air. And as she walks through the farm, Red Arrow says that she knows that Lobo is on his way to finish her off, right? Red Arrow then says, "This place belongs to my mother Shadow. It's the place where I come to rest." So Crush tells her that she ain't about to let Lobo come here and destroy it. But Red Arrow says, "Don't act like you're doing this for us. You have trust issues. We all have trust issues, but we don't have a lot of options, and we're not going anywhere. So cut the crap and get ready for a fight, Crush." Back at the barn, Damien tightens up the last bit of his trap, and Jin says that it's strange. She doesn't sense Lobo's presence anywhere. Robin tells her that they're going to get ready for whenever he shows up. And about the prison, the one that he didn't tell anyone about, where he kept supervillains and even captured Deathstroke, just know that he wasn't trying to hurt the team. Jin stops him. "I have nothing to say to you that doesn't involve protecting Crush from her murderous father." And Robin says, "Fine, but what about Lobo? If we succeed in capturing him, what do you propose we do, kill him?" Jin hesitates for a moment and then says that if they must. Robin tells her that there was a time that he might have agreed with her, but that's not who he is anymore, and he doesn't think that she is either. Later that night, with Lobo still having not shown up, Roundhouse looks around, stating, "Maybe he forgot," which would be like, cool, like he never showed up. Just then, the barn doors slam shut and Roundhouse yells, "Okay, that was not the wind!" With a loud thunk, a scarecrow hits the window and Roundhouse begins to scream, "Code Red! Code Red!" As he's finishing though, there's a rumbling on the ground as Lobo's arm shoots up and he begins to shout, "Come to Papa!" Lobo begins pulling them underground, and Kid Flash throws a batarang, stabbing it into Lobo's eye. Everyone begins to run out, and Lobo pulls the batarang out, telling him, "All right, punks, who wants to die first?" Red Arrow then asks if someone could shut him up already, and Lobo responds to her, "Try it." Robin pushes a button and a giant steel ceiling with spikes slams down on top of Lobo. Crush asks if they did it, and Roundhouse asks, "Do you mean if we dropped a 5-ton roof laced with enough tranquilizers to put down 100 elephants on Lobo? Yeah, we did that." But just then a rumbling begins to come out of the giant metal plate and Lobo lifts it up, stating, "Baby girl, we gotta talk about your friends." Crush calls out to Jin, but before she can even move, Lobo kicks her in the chest, knocking her into a tractor. The team then begins to unload on Lobo, but Lobo walks through it, grabbing Red Arrow by the neck and beginning to squeeze. Jin picks herself up, stating that they have to release LOBO'S. If they don't do something, Lobo's going to kill them all. So Crush tells her that she already lost LOBO'S once. LOBO'S is the closest thing she has to family. Jin takes her hand, stating that the Teen Titans are her family. As Crush gets up, she calls out to Lobo, stating, "I have something for you. LOBO'S, take out the trash." Crush throws her pet chain out, the sentient chain that protects her. Lobo asks, "What's that? You think some magic chain is going to stop the main man? Wait, what the frag is this thing?" Crush punches him, stating that he should know he's the one who gave it to her. Lobo gets up. "I didn't even know you existed until yesterday, so I sure as hell didn't give you anything." Crush charges, grabbing Lobo, telling him that if it wasn't him, it must have been from her mother. "Who is my mother?" Lobo coughs up blood. "Are you joking? The main man has spread his tournament of love throughout the galaxy for eons." Crush punches him, telling him, "Oh, that's just gross." And Lobo laughs. "Oh, you're cute. I've been toe-to-toe with Superman. There's nothing you can." Crush kicks Lobo between the legs, and as he falls over, "Right in the franken brains." Crush steps on Lobo's head, asking, "Who was she? Who was she?" But Lobo laughs. "I ain't joking. I ain't got no fragging clue who your mother is. But I got some more bad news for you. I can't die. So you and your little amigos can do whatever you want to me, but I took out a contract on you, and there's nothing that's going to stop the main man from finishing that job. If I can't find you, I'll find your families, anyone you've ever met. And we're gonna keep doing this again and again and again, and then you'll..." But before he could finish, Jin uses her magic and Lobo falls face first into the ground. Crush asks if she, and Jin tells her no, she changed him, but there will be a cost. Red Arrow then says that they just can't leave him here, and Roundhouse tells Crush that he's got an idea. Some time passes, and on the moon a small drone follows a trail to something that recently crash landed. Lex Luthor appears before the chained up Lobo, stating that if it isn't the infamous bounty hunter bested by mere children. Not a good look for the last Caesarian. Although, that's not really true anymore, is it? Lobo coughs. "Go away, stupid ghost." Lex says, "Don't let my appearance fool you. I'm here to make you an offer. You're going to destroy the Teen Titans, and your daughter will help you do it, Lobo." Now with the Teen Titans finally catching a break from fighting crime, it's time for Crush to do a little investigative work herself. As Jin follows Crush into the warehouse, she says that she doesn't understand what they're doing here. Why would he have anything to hide? We're a team now. Crush tells her, "You don't spend that much time with a guy who dresses like a bat and lives in a cave and not have something to hide." She pushes a large box aside, revealing a metal door, and she tells Jin, "See?" Jin tells her, "Maybe we should ask Robin to." But before she can finish, Crush asks, "Where's the fun in that?" And she kicks in the door. The two look in and Crush tells her, "See? All of these cool toys for us to play with. Come on, let's take a ride out on town." Jin asks, "Shouldn't we ask for permission?" And Crush laughs. Never. Jin sits in the back of the motorcycle as Crush revs the engine as she slams through a wall, shouting, "Let's roll!" As the two go out onto the city, Jin asks where they're going, and Crush tells her upstate. She lost something a long time ago, and it's time for her to get it back. Jin holds on tight, and Crush thinks to herself that all she has to do is go to the coordinates that Robin gave her. The one thing that she didn't mention to Jin, though, is that when they get there, someone's going to die. The two make a stop at a rest station, and Crush says that they need to beef up before going any further. They head into the diner, and the waitress asks if there's anything that she can get for them. Jin says that she would like a bola lala. And the waitress asks, "A what?" It's one part golem saliva mixed with... But Crush speaks over her, telling her, "Yeah, she'll just have a water." As the waitress leaves, Crush looks around, stating, a genie and an alien walk into a diner, and nobody even bats an eye. She looks out the window to notice that her reflection has changed, and Jin says that she thought it would be best to cast a spell to make them fit in. Crush shouts, "What the hell is this? We look like prostitutes!" Jin tells her that she drew inspiration from the girls on the show that Red Arrow watches when she thinks no one is around. Keeping up with the Kardashians? Crush yells in frustration, telling her to turn them back, and Jin asks what about the people around them. So Crush yells, "Who cares? Neither of us should care! We are what we are. The world can deal with it, or get out of our way." Jin says that she's trying to help, and Crush tells her, "It's okay. I stopped giving a crap what people think a long time ago. It all started 15 years ago when I crash landed on Earth in the middle of a group of weirdos trying to figure out the truth of the universe. But these weirdos, they accepted each other for who they were and danced around a giant burning figure. David and Lisa Rojos, her Earth parents. They were taking a spiritual journey together when she literally fell out of the sky. They didn't have much, but they were enlightened. They really understood the world for what it was. Instead of worrying about themselves, they came to her rescue. A chain was surrounding her, but Lisa didn't care and picked her up. But back in our real world, not in our story, there's a crash as the waitress returns and drops their drinks on the floor. She backs up stating that they aren't looking for any trouble, and Jin tries to explain, but Crush gets up stating they won't understand. All they see are a couple of freaks. So she takes Jin by the hand, knocking the door off its hinges. And Jin quickly repairs it, stating that they can't just break everything. A short ways down the street, Crush beats on an apple tree for the two of them to eat, and Jin asks what happened next in her story. So Crush takes a bite, telling her, "Well, my Earth parents weren't perfect, but I always felt loved." David and Lisa weren't just her parents, though. They were her best friends, aside from her chain, LOBO'S. David would always let her play princess, but one day after she saw her reflection in the mirror, she asked why she didn't look like them. David told her it's because she was special, and that her birth parents are superheroes. She asked, "Like Superman?" And they told her, "Exactly like Superman. And your parents must be off saving the universe." It was at that moment that she wanted to stop being a princess and be a superhero. But because of David and Lisa's addictions, they really couldn't stay in one place long. They had a hard time keeping jobs and paying bills, and they even made enemies out of most people. Their habits were something that they could never really lick, but it didn't matter. They were family, and she loved them. After laying low in Nevada, she went out to get some food when she saw someone on the TV that looked just like her. The problem was the man that she saw, well, he was fighting Superman. The people watching the display talked about how Superman wouldn't lose, and that he would finally get rid of Lobo, who was the last of his kind. So Crush ran home and she shouted to David and Lisa that they lied to her, that her father was actually an intergalactic villain. David told her that just because Lobo was bad doesn't mean that she has to be, and that she could choose to be the kind of person that she wanted to be. Crush tried to say something, but instead of listening, she told David and Lisa and even LOBO'S to leave her alone before storming out. What was she supposed to think? She just found out that she wasn't the daughter of a superhero, but instead her dad was a real dirtbag murderer. When she left, she didn't even bother to cover up or try to hide herself. And that's when the truckers spotted her. They called her names and threw rocks at her. David and Lisa always protected her, so she didn't even know how to respond. Instead of walking away, nature kicked in big time. She took out the truckers and then returned home, but it was too late. Somebody had already gotten to their trailer and killed them. Killed David and Lisa. And LOBO'S, well, her chain was gone. So before the cops came, she ran. And here they are today. Jin says that she's sorry to hear about her great tragedy, but it doesn't mean the world is all bad. Yeah, there are things in the world that can hurt you, but if you focus on the bad, you won't see the good. Crush laughs. Okay, fine. What's your story? Change my mind. Jin pauses for a moment and tells her, perhaps one day she will share it. Crush puts her arm on Jin's shoulder, telling her, sure, no rush. Now, let's go get LOBO'S. Later in upstate New York, Crush bursts open a door of a mansion, yelling, knock, knock! Anybody home? A man in the shadows begins to laugh, stating, well, looky here. I know who you are. Kinda hard to forget a face like that. Crush asks if she's supposed to know who he is, and the man with dreadlocks leans forward over his pile of drugs, stating, I go by many names, but you can call me Ezekiel. Back in the day, I used to deal to your parents, but one day, they stole some product from me which caused some problems for my associates. I began hunting them down, but they always seemed to be one step ahead, like they had a sixth sense. But it wasn't a sixth sense, it was that chain. It warned them. So I just watched from afar, waiting for the moment to get even. The plan was to steal you and sell you off in the dark web. But after you left that day, I found something better. I shot your parents and I took that chain. Crush shouts to LOBO'S, and Ezekiel stands up as LOBO'S swirls around him, asking, oh, so that's its name. I've been calling it it. Did you get this thing from your old man, Lobo? Crush yells, Lobo is not my father! And Ezekiel laughs, of course he is. She charges in screaming, no! You killed my parents and now you're going to pay. LOBO'S whips around, launching Crush into the ceiling and then flings back, knocking Jin out. Crush pulls herself out of the ceiling and lunges back at Ezekiel, and he just continues laughing. It! Go get her! LOBO'S begins to wrap himself around Crush and she yells, your name is not it! You're LOBO'S! And I'm Samara! We came to this planet together! She tries to hold LOBO'S back, but the spike gets closer to her face. She tells LOBO'S, You're my best friend, and I love you. Crush lets go, and LOBO'S stops. The chain begins to playfully wrap itself around Crush, and she realizes, there you are. Let's finish off this dirtbag. LOBO'S shoots forward, wrapping around Ezekiel and squeezing, but Jin gets back up, stating that this will not bring back her family. Crush tells her no, but it will feel good, and she can't let this guy walk away. Jin lowers her hand, stating that she must forgive herself. Her father David once said that she can choose the kind of person that she wants to be. Lobo does not have to define her, not if she doesn't want him to. So a few seconds later, Ezekiel is released. Jin says that she is proud of the choice that was made. Crush wipes her face, stating, just don't tell that roundhouse kid that I cried. He'll never let me live it down. Jin then looks at the chain, stating, so this is LOBO'S. Where did you get its name? Crush says that she's not sure. She just always knew somehow. Jin takes Crush's hands, stating that this is exactly what she was talking about earlier. Humans are complicated and flawed, but goodness still exists within them if you let the right ones in. Crush asks, and give up being a stone cold badass? Give me a break. Jin asks her, what's next? Crush tells her, Lobo. Jin then asks, does she really think that he's her father? Crush tells her that she's not sure, but it's time she got answers of her origins. So Jin holds her hand out and tells Crush that it's okay. She won't be there alone. So a month goes by, and along the Brooklyn Bridge, brother and sister villain duo Mammoth and Shimmer go make a drop-off as Shimmer says that their shipment goes out in an hour, and they're short. Mammoth throws another bag into the shipping container, telling her that they have time. They'll just have to get more. There were some abandoned buildings not far from here, probably some strays that they could pick off. But as the two leave, a batarang is thrown before them, and Shimmer looks up to see Robin, aka Damian Wayne Robin, stating that sometimes the world has a way of delivering exactly what you need. Mammoth lunges at Robin, telling him that he's going to be coming with them. Did he really think that he could take them on alone? Robin jumps out of the way, telling them, of course not. And a split second later, Roundhouse rockets in, slamming Mammoth into one of the nearby containers. Robin then opens up the container that Mammoth made the deposit in and tells the people inside, it's all right now, you're safe. While the other Teen Titans keep Mammoth and Shimmer busy, Robin throws another batarang at the locks on the rest of the container, stating, there's more here! Crush picks up Roundhouse, telling him to turn into something useful, but as Roundhouse begins to make a joke about how she sounds like his mom, Crush throws him at Mammoth's head. Crush tells him that he thinks about kidnapping girls again. Remember us hitting you so hard that your sister felt it. As Jin puts Shimmer to sleep, Roundhouse then shouts, all right, teamwork making the dream work. However, for Robin, the mission isn't over. There's still something bothering him. There's only one person that he can really talk about it to, Red Arrow. So as the two are walking through Central Park, Robin tells her that there's something bothering him from when they fought Deathstroke. If you're curious about that video, I'll link it down below, but Deathstroke gained superpowers. The night the prisoners escaped, Deathstroke said that there was a traitor among them. One of the team members was the one who released them. Red Arrow then asks if he thinks it is her, because she helped build the prison that was keeping Deathstroke. So of course it wasn't her. Robin then says that there might be something that he missed that she may have noticed, some clue that he's missing. She tells him okay. How about they go through everyone to try and find a motive as to why someone would have betrayed them. When Jin found out about the prison, she was pretty upset, and her genie powers are through the roof. Robin says that they can't forget about Kid Flash. He wasn't comfortable with the prison either, and Deathstroke has convinced him to join him before. Red Arrow tells him that she doesn't see it. He's got too much to prove to himself these days, and she'd put him last in the list personally. So then Robin asks, what about Roundhouse? We don't know much about him, but then again, it'd be hard to believe that Roundhouse would be able to keep a secret that big. Red Arrow says that only leaves Crush. Her father was hired by the other to fight them. She could be working with the other. Robin tells her, maybe, but again, our mothers have tried to kill us before. Mine actually succeeded. We should return to Mercy Hall so that we can. But Red Arrow stops him, stating, she told him before. She's done with the Teen Titans. She wasn't there for a reason. She had to leave. She killed Deathstroke. She crossed the line that she said she would never cross again. The team hates her more than him. They can't just pretend like none of that happened. Robin says they have found a new way to do things now. They have solved the problem. So later that day, Robin heads back to Mercy Hall to try and interrogate Mammoth and Shimmer and ask them, how could two low-rank metahumans with no previous international crime suddenly become players on a global human trafficking ring? How did they get so organized? Was it the other? Was he the one who hired them? Shimmer tells him that she has no idea what he's even talking about. He can torture them all he wants, but there's nothing to tell. Jin then floats in, stating that they will see about that. You may leave us, Robin, So as Robin leaves, Shimmer then asks where is he going and what is she doing? Get her away from me! Robin steps into the elevator, and as the doors shut, all he can hear are screams. Robin watches a video feed of Sebastian Brown over at Bed-Stuve Neighborhood Garden while he waters his plants. Sebastian then picks up a rose, and when he does, he pricks himself on the thorn, lifting his glasses to reveal himself to actually be Brother Blood. The screen then changes to Gizmo, Atomic Skull, Onomatopoeia, and Swerve, all former prisoners of Robin and Red Arrow's prison, all converted into civilian lifestyles. The screen then pops up with Mammoth and Shimmer. While their stasis shows yellow, Jin used her powers to give them brand new lives. That night, Mammoth goes to work at the carnival, but not as the supervillain Mammoth, but instead, Bobby Myers. Kid Flash asks, "Guys, isn't this wrong?" And Robin tells him that it may be unorthodox, but the results are undeniable. Kid Flash watches, telling him, "I'll give you that. They all seem so happy, and they're not hurting anyone. All it took was a prison blowing up, Deathstroke being killed, Lobo almost killing us, Red Arrow quitting, and Jin hating you." Robin doesn't respond, and Kid Flash tells him to not act like it doesn't bother him. So Robin leans back, stating that regarding the prison, he's actually been wanting to discuss something important with him. But before he could finish, an ear-piercing scream from Jin can be heard, and she appears shouting, "Someone has stolen my ring!" Everyone rushes in to see what's the matter, and Crush then asks, how could that even happen? She never takes it off her finger unless someone was so fast you couldn't feel it, Jin. As Crush grabs Kid Flash by the throat, slamming him into the wall, everyone piles onto Crush, telling her to stop. Jin then asks her to please stop, and as Crush lets go, she says, "There's no taking it easy. We gotta figure this crap out now." Robin takes out his phone and says, "Oh, I completely agree. But that's why as of this moment, we're in full lockdown." In the back of Robin's mind, though, he thinks that this is it. This is what Deathstroke was talking about. Before he could state who the traitor was, an arrow was put through his head. Jin's missing ring is all the proof he needs. Who could have stolen it? And worst of all, what are they waiting for now? Later, as Jin returns to her room, Crush states that she can't believe it. How could she have let something like this happen? How was she not more careful? If someone has the ring, they have her. Jin asks if she truly thinks that they both don't know that. What is happening? This attitude is unlike you, Crush. Crush scoffs. What do you even care? Since that kiss, you haven't said a damn thing about it. Maybe it wasn't a big deal to you, but it was to me. Jin pauses for a moment and then says, "How dare you? I do care. But I've spent my entire existence under the control of others. And only now have I been able to experience life, my own life, for the first time. I joined this team not only to make up for my past, but to also learn about myself. And now, of all days, you choose to confront me with this, and then blame me for my own worst nightmare? That speaks a lot of oneself." Crush storms out of her room, throwing her jacket onto the ground, yelling at herself, "Good freaking going!" But before she could break anything, there's a knock at the door, and Robin asks if he can come in for a moment. Crush tells him that he can, and once inside, Robin asks where was she the night that the prisoners escaped. Crush tells him not that this has anything to do with Jin's ring, but she was right here sleeping. But he should know that as he has cameras watching all of them. Robin then says, "That's the thing. My cameras were disabled." Crush then asks, "Why didn't you say that the breakout was an inside job?" And Robin stops her. "I was waiting for the right moment, like I did when you confessed your feelings for Jin." As Crush gets ready to swing at him, Robin goes on telling her, "I have cameras everywhere. I know about your kiss and the argument that you just had. Maybe you took the ring to force Jin to like you back." Crush drops her weights, grabbing Robin by the collar, but her eyes go full red, the same as Lobo's. She catches herself letting go, telling Robin to get out. She didn't steal the ring, because unlike you, I'd never hurt Jin. Robin continues to investigate the remaining team members, all with their own possible motives, but nothing comes up. However, one thing that Kid Flash mentions is that the one person who would be capable of doing this isn't exactly on the team anymore. So later, at Red Arrow's apartment, she calls Green Arrow and records a message that she's still in Manhattan trying to figure out what she's going to do. She's been having trouble with the whole hero thing. Something happens and it makes her doubt herself. Maybe she can't fight nature. Maybe she is her mother's child. Red Arrow then looks at her phone, and when it asks to send the voicemail, she taps no, and the phone tells her, "Message deleted." After letting out a sigh, she hears the sound of a closing door. Red Arrow grabs her telescope and throws it, stating, "Whoever you are, I am not in the mood." Jin grabs the telescope out of the air, and Red Arrow then throws a potted plant, stating, "I guess we're doing this." The plant misses, but as Jin holds up her hand, an arrow shoots through it. Red Arrow then grabs another arrow, lunging and shouting, "Of course you're the traitor! I knew I shouldn't have trusted!" Jin looks up, telling her to stop. And as Red Arrow's body freezes in place, she blasts her out of the apartment window. And at that moment, a voice tells Jin, Nice work. Roundhouse steps out of the shadows wearing Jin's ring, telling her, "That's 1 down, 3 more to go." Rain pours down on Mercy Hall as Damien sits at his computer compiling data on his team. He stares at the screen when there's a knock at the door and he quickly puts his mask on. Opening it, Jin floats there asking him if they can talk for a moment. She says that she has been thinking about what happened, about them, how she knows that he would never intend on hurting her. And after thinking about his secret prison, she now knows that he only wished to make things better. It was for the greater good. She has come here tonight to tell him that she loves him. Jin then takes Damien by the hand and tells him to close his eyes, and he does. And she uses her powers to knock him out. Later, as the lights come back on in Damien's prison, Red Arrow, Kid Flash, Crush, and Damien all sit in chains with Roundhouse wielding Jin's ring, telling them, "Alright, so we need to talk." Kid Flash says, "The last thing that I remember was that you stole Jin's ring so that you could take down the Teen Titans." And Roundhouse tells him, "Yeah, sorry, I really didn't want to do it this way, but I couldn't risk another backfire like at the prison." Red Arrow shifts in her chains, asking, "You're the one who released everyone from the secret prison?" And Roundhouse tells her, "Yeah, I know, my bad. Everything went down differently when I pictured it all in my head." Kid Flash yells, asking, "So you're working for our arch nemesis, the Other?" And Roundhouse scoffs, "Psst, that guy's a murderer. Come on, buddy, have some faith." Crush shouts at him, "You want us to have faith? Jin trusted you, and now you're using her against us." Roundhouse tells her, "I know, trust me, I know. But I'm doing this to save you all, to save us from Robin. Growing up, my sister Claire was everything to me. She was my best friend. We were inseparable. That wasn't until a year ago. We were all on our way to the opening of a new clothing store and passed through an alleyway when the warehouse next to us exploded. I was splashed with some chemical and Claire was trapped under the rocks as the building fell. I tried to run to her, but my body turned into this goop, and Claire died asking where was I. I didn't know how this could have happened. And then I saw it. Robin. He was the one who blew up the building." Damien stops him. "I remember. I was stopping Scarecrow from releasing his fear toxin all over the city. The perimeter appeared to be clear and Roundhouse interrupts him. "And it wasn't! And Claire died because of you. All because of you. When I was asked to be a part of the superhero team, I didn't know the person running it would be you. After finding out about the secret prison, I knew exactly the type of person that Robin was. You have been locking up people forever and playing God by using Jin to rewrite their brains. That's not what heroes do. That's what bad guys do, Robin." Damien stops him. "You have to listen. We tried everything, imprisoning them and worse. What we do works." And Roundhouse tells him, "No, you were trained to kill, not save lives." Waiting for Damien to respond, Crush speaks up. "You know, Roundhouse has a point. My pops deserved what he got, but there's gotta be a better way than this. But for us to do that, Roundhouse, you have to make things right by giving Jin her ring back. Please." Kid Flash tells him, "Just look at you. This isn't you. You're one of the good guys, you remember? We can do it. Together." Roundhouse hesitates for a moment as he looks at Jin's ring, and just as he goes to say something, Damien tells him, "We can find a solution together, and I can forgive you." Roundhouse glares at him. "What? What did you just say?" Damien tells him, "You're obviously under a lot of stress and you're reacting from an emotional place. Let's work this out and I can forgive you for doing this." Roundhouse screams at him, "No! You don't get to forgive! You're the one who destroyed everything! Everyone else might be fooled, but I'm not. Claire was a good person. She could have cured cancer if given the chance. So now, I'm gonna take someone away from you. Jin, get back in your ring. Forever!" Jin screams as her body is absorbed into the ring, and then there's nothing. Roundhouse looks at the ring quietly. Oh God. I didn't mean to. I was mad. I didn't mean. As rage takes over, Crush stands up, ripping the chains out of the wall, shouting, "I'm gonna kill you for what you did!" Roundhouse falls to his knees. I can get her back. Just give me a second." Crush swings her chain with the part of the wall still attached to it at Roundhouse, asking, "Do you think you're a hero?" And Roundhouse tries to tell her, "I'm sorry," and Crush punches him in the face, breaking his goggles. Kid Flash and Red Arrow try to grab a hold of Crush, but she rips apart Roundhouse's costume, shouting, "I'm gonna kill you all!" And then, Crush stops. Crush begins to hear a faint sound as she turns to walk away, and as everyone rushes to check on Roundhouse, Red Arrow follows Crush, telling her to wait. Once they get to the top of Mercy Hall, Crush jumps halfway across the city, and that's when everyone sees it. The Doom Sigil, lighting up the sky with its green glow. Crush lands asking what happened to her, why is she kneeling? And Lobo tells her, Luther said there'd be some kind of weird mind control going on here, but what do you know, kid? It worked. It's you and me now, girly, and we're about to have a blast. Soon everything fades to black as Crush falls into a dark abyss. She asks if anyone's there, and Lobo leans back in his recliner, stating, Oh, your friends ain't here. We're in your mind, and right now, you're playing for the main man's team, and they better get used to it. Crush struggles, telling him, You must be out of your mind. There's no way that I'd work for you. And Lobo laughs, You're fragging growing on me, kid. Keep it up and I might not kill you. Crush lunges, shouting, We've already wiped the floor with you once, and I sure as hell could do it again. Lobo dodges the attack, telling her, You don't really have a choice in the matter. Lex made sure of that with his gift. The DNA that we share makes it so that I can control you. You know, the way it should be. So sit back and enjoy the show, kid. He takes a puff from his cigar and then blows the smoke in Crush's face, knocking her out again. As time passes, she finds herself on the Throgs of Neck Bridge asking to please stop this. Crush punches into a person, launching them across the highway and into a nearby truck. She then looks at the aqua-colored blood on her hand, and Lobo asks, Do you see it now? The human mask falls off as the alien gets up, stating that his people are here on a peaceful mission. There is no need for violence. Lobo walks up laughing. This guy's a real snooze fest, huh? Hard to believe someone paid money to see this loser dead. Speaking of that, take him out, Crush. Crush tells him that she can't. There's no way that she'd never. Lobo pushes her forward, telling her, There's a first time for everything. Now go on, you can do it. She reaches down to drag the alien closer, and as she lifts her foot up, it's a loud crunch. You become a girl after my own heart. Gonna make me cry. Now, let's get those little pals of yours. Back over at Mercy Hall, the home of the Teen Titans, Roundhouse lays chained up, stating that he wishes he could take it all back. He really does. And Kid Flash stares at him, telling him, Well, you can't. And we haven't had any luck of getting her back out. Either she's trapped in there or she doesn't want to come back out. What were you thinking, man? Roundhouse yells, I wasn't thinking. I was just so angry at Robin. I just wanted to hurt him. At that moment, Red Arrow comes in and Kid Flash tells her how she's late. She asks him how he's doing, and Kid Flash says, Well, some spooky symbol appeared in the sky, Crush is still missing, and we can't get Jin out of her ring, and my powers are freaking out. Oh, and my best friend betrayed us. Yeah, I'm doing fine. As Red Arrow leans on the wall and sharpens her arrowheads, Roundhouse says that they don't have to babysit him. It's not like he can really go anywhere with his suit all torn up. Is she even going to respond? Red Arrow passes her arrow on the whetstone again, stating that she's not sure what to say. He used Jin to throw her out of a window. Roundhouse says that he's still sorry about that. Taking her out early was super important to the plan. Even though she doesn't have any powers, she's the most dangerous member of the team. Just ask Deathstroke. Several minutes of silence pass and Roundhouse asks, Do you still think about it? Red Arrow stares for a moment and then tells him no. Just then a notification goes off on Red Arrow's phone and she says that it looks like they found Crush. Roundhouse yells that he can help, please, so Red Arrow walks out telling him that he's not going anywhere. He's already done enough damage for one day. Later, back at Coney Island, Crush terrorizes the amusement park while Lobo kicks back and enjoys a few beers. She mentally yells for him to get out of her head, but Lobo tells her, Nah, you still need to drop the hammer on your friends. Just then, Damian, Kid Flash, and Red Arrow appear and shout for her to stop. They all know that she is upset about what happened to Jin. Crush lifts up a bumper car above her head, and as she screams in her mind not to make her do it, Lobo tells her, Take him out. She throws the car, struggling to tell them to run. Kid Flash grabs Damian and Red Arrow, stating that he can't do this again. His powers are out of control. It's not safe. As Crush goes to grab another bumper car, Red Arrow takes aim, releasing an explosive arrow, dropping the car on Crush. The team slowly moves in, but as they get close, Crush bursts out, knocking everyone to the ground. Red Arrow reaches for her bow, but before she can grab it, Crush steps on her hand and knees her in the face. Damian leaps in, stating that she's gonna pay for that. However, Crush spins back, catching him by his neck. She squeezes down on Damian's throat, and he gasps for air, asking, Why? And then Lobo walks in, explaining, It's because I need to get paid. And I owe you for last time. Crush lightly releases her grip and then pulls Damian in, headbutting him. And as he blacks out, They all awaken later, in an unknown location, with Lobo and Crush walking through a castle and a voice telling them that they're late. Lobo says, "Yeah, unexpected complications. The main man always delivers. Speaking of, what's the deal with them?" The voice asks, "What's the deal? Before there was light, there was only darkness, and in the darkness there were things that went bump in the night. Things that fed on the fears of men and haunted their dreams. Some said it was the devil, others said the boogeyman, but rest assured, it was the other." Deep below in the prison of Mercy Hall, Roundhouse lays on the ground, hardly able to keep his form with his suit damaged. He sighs, stating that it's been hours. He just needs to reach. But as he pops open a small control compartment in his shoe, he presses a button and turns into a ball, bursting out of his chains. Once he gets to the upper levels, he grabs a roll of duct tape, wrapping himself up, stating that he needs to fix this. He just needs to stop by the house first. Meanwhile, in the other's lair, the other steps out before the tied-up Teen Titans, stating, "Teen Titans, the splinter in my mighty paw, and Lobo, you are worth every penny." Lobo laughs, telling him, "Yeah, had a little help from the squirt here, but the main man always finishes his job." As Lobo kicks Damien's body forward, the other asks, "What of the ring?" Lobo takes out Jin's ring, handing it over, stating, "I tried wishing for a stacked blonde. Nada." The other takes the ring that now contains the genie Jin, one of the Teen Titans, and slides it onto his finger, stating that King Solomon once had such a ring, but even he never quite knew how to use it. But now, Lobo waves his arm, walking off, telling him, "I don't really care. It's happy hour somewhere and I'm missing it. Let's go, Shimi." The other asks, "Aren't you forgetting something? The deal was all of the Teen Titans, including Crush. Roundhouse is not important to the plan, but Crush, she is, and make sure to leave her compliant." Lobo turns back to Crush and he tells her, "Heal!" And without being able to resist, Crush falls to her knees with a loud whoomp. Kid Flash begins to stand up, stating, "It's still 3-1. You are so good to get your butt handed to you." The other begins to laugh, telling him, "You have so much to learn. First lesson is the other is never alone." Dozens of ninjas begin to jump out and the others are taken away, with the others speaking directly to Damian Wayne. "I have been waiting for this day. All the clues left behind. I knew that you would see them, the patterns connecting the dots, seeing what I have built." Damian tells him, "You speak as if we know each other." And the other asks, "Don't you remember? The other is your executioner. I'm what you should have been, Mother's favorite." As the other removes his mask, he leans in with a stitched together neck in Damian's face, telling him, "You used to call me the heretic, but you can call me brother." Damian sits back. "You're my clone, the one that killed me. But that's impossible. Mother killed you." Heretic tells him it's true, but a rogue assassin did not want to see the holy blood of Ra's al Ghul spilled without a purpose. The assassin returned me to my rightful place, grandfather's home, the Lazarus Pit. And after I recovered, I read all the books. I learned all of the ancient evil that had plagued this earthly plane. It was at that moment that I found my way back, and I became the other. I spent months tracking his location. The other hid his movements like a true master, but once I found him, he was easily killed. With the other out of the way, I took the mantle, and I used his shadow to loom over all. I grew the existing empire into what it is now. I played the part." Damian asks, "What part?" The heretic raises his sword, telling him, "Our parents' misguided attempts to save the world got us both killed, brother. There needed to be a new way to deliver justice to the wicked, to become the greatest hero that ever lived." But meanwhile, down in the sewers, Red Arrow looks around at the rising water, stating that they need to do something before this place is completely submerged. Kid Flash yells in frustration, yelling, "I should be able to vibrate out of these chains, but my powers are too unpredictable right now." Red Arrow then spits out a small arrowhead from her mouth, stating, "We can't give up," and she begins to pick the cuff. Kid Flash looks at Crush, stating, "I don't know what's wrong with her lately, but would you be so kind as to break us out of here?" You know, unless you want to keep beating on us, Crush. Red Arrow tells him to stop. She can't. Lobo did something to her. He was controlling her. That's why she attacked. Crush quietly says, "This is all my fault." But Red Arrow tells her, "No, it's not. You are not your father, Crush." Crush shouts, "I wasn't strong enough to stop him. The things he made me do. He made me kill someone. I fought as hard as I could. Part of me thinks the reason I couldn't break free was because I liked having him around." Red Arrow says that they're all not proud of the things their parents have done, and Kid Flash tells her that they're not their parents. Besides, she held up an entire building to save them. Crush laughs. "I just didn't want my favorite jacket to get wrecked." Red Arrow goes on stating, "I care about you. Heck, I even care about Kid Flash." So Kid Flash fist bumps her, and when he does, it creates a shock. Red Arrow looks at Kid Flash, who explains that his powers are still going crazy from everything going on in the Flash comic right now. But Red Arrow tells him, actually, it gives her an idea. Back up top, Damian asks, "A hero? You're the head of a criminal empire." And Heretic says, "Yes, my networks allow me unimaginable access to manipulate others as I see fit under the guide of one of my own. Think of the possibilities, brother." Damian yells, "You're an abomination!" And Heretic tells him, "I wouldn't say such things." And Damian asks, "Or what, you're gonna kill me again?" Heretic stops him. "Look, I did not do all of this so that we'd fight. I don't have much time." Damian tells him, "You're dying." And Heretic looks at him, "Yes. I have brought you here so that we can finish what has been started. We both want the same thing, to make our mark, to rewrite our past, to reshape the world. And I have what you lack, the mantle of the other, the means and the manpower to make your dream a reality. That is why you must become me. Take over the mantle. You will have everything that you ever wanted. You may not be able to beat crime, but you can control it, Damian." Damian asks, "And what if I refuse?" And the Heretic says, "You will have another use then, and your team will drown." Heretic holds out his hand stating, "It has to be you. This is your destiny." Down below in the flooded sewer, Red Arrow asks Crush if she's ready, and Crush yells, "Just do it!" Kid Flash reaches out, touching Crush and shocking her, and with that, she passes out. Red Arrow asks how much power did he use. She said to not knock out Crush, and Kid Flash says, "Yep, we're gonna die." And Red Arrow says, "Kid Flash?" But as he goes to respond, she holds out her hand, Kid Flash grabs a hold of it, and at that moment, there's a loud explosion, and suddenly all of the water begins to drain out. Kid Flash is stunned, asking what happened, with Roundhouse stepping through the hole that he created, asking, "What happened?" "Your boy happened!" Up top, Heretic turns to Damian. "It is time for you to choose. Accept your destiny. Take the mantle. Become the other. Or reject me and die with the rest of the Teen Titans." Damian asks, "If I join, what happens to my team?" Heretic holds out Jin's ring, stating, "I can control them. Make them understand." As Jin's ring swirls with power, Damian asks him, "How? I spent days trying to get it to work." And Heretic says, "It's all thanks to the Book of the Damned. Within its pages, it held forbidden secrets. It can free your beloved Jin. All you have to do is say yes!" Damian tells him, "I need proof." Heretic scoffs, "Fine, call for her." Damian stares at the ring and calls out Jin, and moments later, he begins to wake up in a room filled with dead bodies. He gets up asking, "Where am I?" And up on her throne, Jin says, "Hello, welcome to my prison, Damian." Damian walks forward asking, "Is it really you?" And Jin says, yes, it is." He looks around, stating, "This is the place you told me about, where your brother Elias held you. Are we inside your ring?" Jin sighs, telling him, "Yes, my ring is connected to another realm. Your world has a name for it, Purgatory. This palace and what happened here is my deepest shame. Thus, it became my personal prison. But what are you doing here?" Damian tells her that he is here to rescue her. Whatever happened out there, it doesn't matter. Jin says that she heard everything Roundhouse said, what they were doing, changing the personalities of those that they deemed evil. It is wrong. You should leave this place and forget that we ever met. Damian runs over, grabbing her hand, stating, "This isn't about saving you. It's about me and you and..." Jin takes her hand back, telling him, "I know, but how did you get here, Damian?" Damian tells her, "I found the other. It turned out to be my clone, the Heretic. He wants me to replace him. He has your ring, and his knowledge brought me here, Jin." Jin asks, how did he get that knowledge? Damien goes on, he mentioned an ancient book. He called it the Book of the Damned. Jin snaps, that book needs to be destroyed. The Book of the Damned will lead to nothing but pain for you and for everyone. Damien asks, what am I supposed to do then? Just leave you here? In your prison? Your hell? Jin begins to cry, stating that is exactly what he needs to do. Damien tells her, no! And Jin reaches out, touching the sides of his head, stating that she will show him what happens if he becomes the other. As a few moments pass, Damien's eyes gloss over and she asks, what does he see? He begins to cry, stating that it's everything he ever wanted. Back in the real world, the heretic asks him, well? And Damien gets up saying, Jin showed me my future. It's exactly what I pictured. It's exactly why I can't have this. The heretic raises his staff, shouting, you fool! Your genie will never be free now! But as the staff comes down, Damien takes both of his fists, cracking them into the heretic's mask, stating, I will find a way without you! As Damien crawls on top, the heretic asks, do you think brute force will win this, brother? Suddenly, Damien screams in pain as another heretic pulls the blade out of Damien's back and he says, we could have had. But at that moment, there's an explosion with a giant fireball slamming into the heretic's back, throwing him off. Roundhouse, along with the others, call out, hey, you're welcome. And you may have dropped this. Roundhouse begins to hand Jin to Damien. Heretic gets up, creating more copies of himself, stating, you have no idea what you're doing. Looks like you're going to die together, Teen Titans. Kid Flash runs in, hitting, asking, who's this? And why does he have Damien's face? Damien begins to explain, but he stops himself, stating, we don't have time! Just take him down! Crush cracks her knuckles, stating, it feels good to be myself again. And beside that, I always wanted a chance to beat your assassin. Heretic gets up, stating, I have had enough! And he casts a spell, freezing everyone in place. He shouts, I have built an empire, and my own brother spat in my face. I will just have to harness your collective power and make it my own. As he prepares the spell, the ice around Crush begins to crack, and suddenly she breaks free, shattering the ice prison. She lunges forward, punching the heretic down, shouting, bring her back! And Heretic tells her, it is impossible! How did you? Suddenly the roof begins to give, and Red Arrow tells everyone, we gotta leave and forget Heretic. Damien shouts, we can't leave him! He's the only one who knows how to free Jin! But before Damien can grab a hold, a hole opens up beneath Heretic with him falling through. A short while later, outside of the lair, Roundhouse asks if they think he's really gone, and Crush reaches into her jacket, stating that she doesn't know. But she did manage to swipe a stupid book. Roundhouse begins to state that he knows that he messed up, so before they throw him into the sun, can they just let him say... Damien stops him, stating that he doesn't have to apologize. They all made mistakes that led them here. They could have worked together better, and they will, starting now. The book that Crush has is the key to bringing back Jin. So Crush asks, what's the plan? And Damien tells her that they're gonna take the fight to the devil himself and end Elias once and for all. In Karak, the Teen Titans fight off a swarm of creatures, with Damien telling everyone to stay sharp. They came here to free Jin. She's currently locked in the ring after all the stupidity of Roundhouse trying to betray them. Red Arrow kicks one of the creatures, asking if they're sure that this is the only way, and Damien subdues a creature, telling her that what matters right now is that they have something that makes Elias vulnerable. Just up ahead, they will use the Book of the Damned to end all of this once and for all. And Crush says, yeah, once we make that D-bag spring Jin from her jail, Elias gets 2 tickets to a beatdown. Once everything is set, Red Arrow says, okay, perfect. Once we place the Cup of Sorrows in the middle, we will need a blood offering. Roundhouse calls out that he would like to mention that he cannot stand the sight of blood. But just then there's an explosion and a voice that says, Teen Titans, at last we meet. As you can see, I've been expecting you. As the doors open up without Red Hood performing the ritual, Elias stands inside of a casino filled with demons and he smiles. And continuing to not say a word, he throws a lightning bolt at the team, knocking them back, and then he snaps his fingers. Jin's ring flies out of Damien's pouch, and Elias says that he would like to thank them for bringing him exactly what he was missing, his old pet. It's good to see you again. Finally back where you belong. As Crush helps Damien up, Damien tells Red Arrow to hurry and get on that spell. Everyone else, kick his ass! Elias begins to laugh as he snaps his fingers again, telling them, "We outnumber you. Hardly a fair fight. How about we even the odds a bit?" Soon all of the demons in the casino turn their attention towards our heroes and they begin to attack. Red Arrow kneels down to go through the Book of the Damned, telling Kid Flash that she is a bit new to the whole magic thing. He's gonna have to keep an eye on things so that she doesn't turn them into unicorns or some other Harry Potter nonsense. Kid Flash runs circles around her, telling her that she can take all the time that she needs. As Red Arrow prepares the spell, Elias says that he'd love to catch up with them. But now that he has all of the rings, it's time to summon all of his brothers and sisters and kick down the gates of heaven and take what belonged to them. Elias grows in size as the demons are absorbed into him, and then he punches down on Crush, burying her into the ground. Kid Flash yells to Red Arrow that it's now or never, and as Red Arrow finishes the final chant, she says that that's it. The spell has been cast. Elias should work for them now. Elias stomps down as he shrinks, stating, "Well, that was a powerful spell, and it would have worked. But with the 10th and final ring, nothing can stop me. It's time for the devil to be in charge. All that is missing is the Stone of Souls, and with that..." Suddenly, Elias disappears and reappears inside of Purgatory, telling Jin, "It's nice to see you again." Jin attacks, telling him, "You can go to hell!" And Elias dodges, stating, "Oh, I've been there! And while it's lovely this time of year, what I seek is not there." A hand lunges out, grabbing Jin by the neck, stating, "You know where the Stone of Souls is. Where is it?" Jin struggles, telling him that he knows the rules. Every Jin is allowed to disobey one command, even from him. And Elias says, "Yes, but I'm not going to force you. If you don't tell me, then your friends will die, and it will only get worse from there." Back in the real world, Elias returns with Jin, and Jin tells them, "You all shouldn't have come here." Crush gets ready to attack, but before she can, Elias begins choking everyone with his magic, telling her, "You're wasting my time! Give me the stone!" Jin prepares her spell, telling him, "I cannot allow all of you to die because of me." And as she finishes, a small explosion goes off, and a voice from inside the smoke says, "Yo, this is totally not cool! I was talking with my cousin, who's probably freaking out right now." As the young man stands there, Elias asks, "Who is this child?" And the boy says, "My name is Jakeem Thunder." "And who are you supposed to be?" Elias looks at Jin, telling him, "I said no games!" But Jin says, "Do you not recognize your magical incantation?" Elias pauses, turning back, stating, My, you gave the Stone of Sorrow to use. Of course you hid it in some form of the 5th dimension. All this power in the hands of a child." Jakeem clicks a pen, telling him, "I was letting you get away with saying child once, but twice? Time to bring the thunder, bro." So not cool. As Jakeem summons Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt gets ready to attack and then stops. Elias laughs. "It's been so long, little brother." And Jakeem asks, "What's wrong? Are you scared? Why?" Elias punches Thunderbolt before transforming into his devil form, stating, "Because I am Elias, the first of my kind, made by the very hand of our great Father above. Some call me Jin, others call me the devil, and Thunderbolt knows when his time grows too close." Elias begins to absorb Thunderbolt, with Jakeem yelling, "I'm not going down without a fight!" And Elias turns back, telling him, "You wish." He fires a blast at Jakeem, but Kid Flash runs through, grabbing him, asking him if he's okay. And Jakeem tells him, "Yo, thanks for the save." Kid Flash looks back, telling him, "You can thank me if we survive whatever this is." Elias extracts the stone from within Thunderbolt, telling him, "Finally, the last piece. It is time to strike with the speed of a serpent and claim my rightful place on my father's throne in the heaven above, right after I tie up some loose ends." Jin then uses all of her power, telling Elias that he has destroyed many things, but her friends won't be one of them. As the Teen Titans are pulled away, everyone calls out for her to wait, but Jin says, "Please, do not try to save me again." Elias calls Jin back into her ring, telling her that he promises her that won't happen. "I need you when I attack the gate of heaven." Seconds later, back in Mercy Hall, there's a flash of purple light, and Jakeem asks, "So where exactly are we now?" And Roundhouse says that this is their humble headquarters abode. Jakeem tells them, "Cool, right, who are you?" And Damien tells them that they are the Teen Titans, and he is Jakeem Thunder, Master of Thunderbolt. Jakeem tells them, "I don't really like the word master. How about we just say that we work together, or at least we did. Anyway, what the heck happened back there?" Red Arrow says that it was a poorly planned mission to save a teammate, which they executed even worse than intended. Damian tells her that all she had to do was read the spell quicker, but as they begin to argue, Roundhouse duct tapes his suit back together and creates a blinding light telling everyone to listen up. Them fighting is not going to save Jin. Damian says that there is one way. If she's in purgatory, then they can go to hell and sneak in through the back door to save her. Jakeem asks, and how exactly are we going to hell? Damian tells him, we're gonna have to die. Jakeem asks him, did you just say we have to die? Because it sounded like you said we have to die. I want my genie back, but dying is not one of the things I want to do. Damian tells him, good, because you aren't coming with us. Without powers, you're a liability. Besides, we need someone to monitor our bodies and keep them safe. As Damian opens up a hidden safe, Crush then asks, how is them going to hell going to do anything? Damian says, hell has a back door to purgatory. Jin's ring has her trapped in purgatory. Red Arrow then asks, how do you know this? And Damian tells her because of the Book of the Damned, he read it cover to cover. Just then a small tray appears with 6 vials, and Damian goes on to explain that each of these contains a compound designed to kill each of them. But first they will put themselves into a state of paralysis before eventually drowning their lungs with their own fluids. Jakeem will administer the antidote before they die for good. Everyone goes quiet and stares, and Damian asks, what? I assume you all have a plan to stop me if I go rogue, right? Either way, we don't have time. Once we're down, we have 30 minutes. After that, Jakeem will hit us with the antidote and we'll be back. As Damian begins to take his vial, he then asks, so who's with me? Crush looks at hers and says, what the hell? Let's get our girl back. Just as everyone takes their vials, they all start to pass out one by one. And a few moments later, Roundhouse slowly wakes up asking, did it work? Are we dead? And Roundhouse tells him to look around. Does this place look like hell? As everyone gets up, they walk towards the giant gate, with Kid Flash stating that it seems a little too easy. No guards, no nothing. Meanwhile, up at the gates of hell, Elias tells the gatekeeper that there must be a misunderstanding. Gatekeeper tells him that his name is Peter. And Elias tells him, right. Okay, so Peter, it's been a few millennia. I didn't recognize you. Peter asks if they know each other, and Elias says, we were brothers before, I fell. Peter's eyes widen and Elias says, now you remember. So as I was saying, there seems to be a misunderstanding. I wasn't asking for your permission. As angels begin to fly down, Peter says, oh, you're going to regret this. And Elias holds up his rings telling him, actually, I was going to say the same thing. Back down below, Damian guides the team through a maze stating that they're almost there. This is the Labyrinth of Regret. On the other side is the river Styx, but if they hurry, Kid Flash stops them going, whoa, 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 whoa. How do you know your way around hell so easily? You didn't learn all of this from a book. There's something else going on. Damian pauses for a moment and then says that he died at the hands of the heretic, and this is where he was sent when he was dead. He went to hell. Kid Flash stops there and he just says, okay, I'm just gonna say I'm so sorry. Just then everyone's bodies begin to fade and Damian yells, listen closely. The labyrinth shows us our deepest regrets and fears. Stand fast. None of it is real. We can't. Before they could finish, everyone is taken away and Raz Al Ghul steps forward stating, at long last, the prodigal grandson returns. Do you think yourself a hero? Who are you trying to convince? Yourself? Damian charges in shouting, do not claim to know me. You know nothing, grandfather. Raz swings and Damian jumps over telling him, I have found my own way, a better way, one better than my father and one better than my grandfather. Raz asks if he's speaking of the prison, half measures, compromises. You seek to change things, but you lack commitment to do what you must do. Raz then snatches Damian by the face, pulling him in close, telling him, this is why your plans fail. You are better than Wayne, better than Talia, but do you have what it takes to be better than me, grandson? As Raz lets go, Damian stands up. You're not real. You're just my fears and my own doubts. I'm done fighting who I really am. As Raz rushes in, his sword swings through Damian without a scratch. Damian begins running, telling himself that nothing here is real. Find the light if it's still. While everything is chasing him, Damian sees a blue lantern and he quickly grabs it, vanquishing the shades that are following him. Damian then takes that lantern, running back, yelling to everyone that they need to remember, what they are seeing isn't real. Fight! It's time to fight or die! As everyone slowly returns, all they say is that what they saw was so real, and Damian tells them that they don't have time. Maybe minutes. Stay close. After a bit of walking, Roundhouse looks up saying to please tell him that whatever they have to do next does not involve going through that giant scary looking door. Damien holds up the lantern, telling them, straight through here is purgatory. Straight through here too. But as the door opens up, Jin shouts, I told you not to come! Before they could argue, there's a loud, prolonged beep. Roundhouse then asks if anyone else heard that, and Jin tells them, because we're already out of time! You're dead! Crush begins to yell, no! I can fight him! And Jin asks, how? Elias has my ring. He's more powerful than ever before. There is no stopping him. And Damien tells her, no, you've beaten him before. Has any Jin ever beaten an Elias before? So what you're saying is that you can't take him down for good. Jin sighs, telling him, it's because I'm trapped here, a slave to his commands. And Crush shouts, Elias is a liar, a con, a fake god. Damien asks, what is the power that's been within you this whole time? Jin tells him that it's impossible. She can't do it, but Damien asks, have you even tried? Leave your ring. Jin asks, without being commanded? And Crush says, you'd never have to be a slave to anyone again. Stop complaining and get the hell out of here. Jin begins to gather her strength, telling them, you're right. And out in the real world, Jakeem says, I could really use Thunderbolt right about now. Suddenly he screams in pain as magic flows through him, and Jin rips herself out of purgatory. With Jakeem asking, what just happened? Jin tells him that it seems that the magic has always been inside of both of them. As everyone gets back up, Crush says they don't have time for the kumbaya crap. They've got people to see and asses to kick. Roundhouse runs over to Jin, telling her that he is just so sorry. He didn't mean for any of this to happen. He was only trying to do what he thought was right. He'll spend the rest of his life trying to make it up to her if she lets him. She smiles and tells him that she knows. And he has her forgiveness, but right now, they have to focus on the task at hand. So a short while later, standing outside of Heaven's Gate, Roundhouse looks at the scattered angel bodies and he says, oh boy, I think we're a little late. Jin flies up stating that if Elias is already in, then it is too late. And Crush says, yeah, we've heard that before, but we got you. Inside, Elias sits on the throne, stating that the Jin are the chosen ones and not the angels. So they finally have come home, and is their father here to greet them? No. That's because their father has not been here for a while, has he? What was your name again, brother? It's been a while. The angel on the ground tells him that his name is Gabriel. And Elias tells him, that's right. Anyway, Gabriel, tell me where the big man is or those pretty wings are about to be ripped off. Gabriel begins to tell him that he doesn't know, but Elias rips his wings off, telling him, let's try that one again. But at that moment, Jin shoots in, punching him, asking, why don't you stop picking on an angel? Crush asks, why don't you get a load of us instead? Elias begins to laugh, telling him, I really like your mucks. That's when Jin calls out to the others, telling them that they've been lied to from the beginning of time. She escaped her ring and they can too. Elias bursts out laughing. Do you really think that they can hear you? I am their god. They kneel to me just as you will. Jin flies in, telling him, it is time for you to die. And Elias lunges forward, stabbing into her, telling her, not while I wield Moses' staff, I won't be dying. As Jin falls to the ground, Kid Flash runs in and Elias says, do you think they go faster than a god? Please. Elias chokes Kid Flash and he manages to state that for a genie, you don't seem to know much about magic, Elias. The first step is misdirection. As Red Arrow shoots Elias in the back, Crush punches him, telling him, after that comes sleight of hand. While everyone else joins in on the fight, Elias snaps his fingers, stating, that is enough. Show's over. But at that moment, Jin's voice tells him, and it's time for the big reveal. Ta-da! She jumps down, stabbing Moses' staff into Elias as he screams in pain. And Elias asks, how? And Jin scoffs, telling him it was all an illusion. He was so blinded by rage that what he stabbed wasn't the real her. Then again, he never really saw her, did he? Or what she was capable of. As Jin takes all of the Jin rings from Elias, the other Jin all begin to kneel before her. She tells them no. I am not like them. Rise, my brothers, rise! Using Moses' staff, Jin breaks the rings of Elias' influence, and slowly the Jin begin to return to normal. They all bow and thank her, and then they ask what are they to do with Elias, now that this is all over. Jin says they will try to teach him what he needs to do in order to atone, and if he listens, maybe someday. As Elias is trapped inside of his ring, Jin finishes by stating that he will be free, like all of them. Jin looks at Jakeem, telling him that there's one more thing, and with a loud thunder crackboom, Thunderbolt appears yelling, "I'm back!" Jakeem laughs, telling him that he's so glad to see him. They have a lot of catching up to do. And Jin says yes, they both need answers, and the three of them will find them together. Damien asks her, "Jin, are you leaving the Teen Titans?" She casts a spell and teleports everyone away, stating that she is free for the first time ever, but none of them are truly free from this. Everyone looks around at the cell in the prison beneath Mercy Hall, the prison that Damien created, that Red Arrow knew about. And Jin tells Damien that he used her. Damien tries to explain that what they did wasn't wrong. What they did wasn't too far. They didn't go far enough. And Jakeem asks, "Is that what you think justice is?" Crush asks Jin if she's really going. "What about the Teen Titans?" And Jin says that she has love for them all of them. But when she was under Elias's control, the magic that she was using on their prisoners was undone. She shall never force anyone to do anything against their will again. Her part in this, in the Teen Titans, it's over. Crush begins to run after her, begging her not to go. And as everyone hugs her, Jin tells them all that she'll miss them, but she cannot squander this freedom that she has been given. What comes next for the Teen Titans is up to them. Whatever they decide, she hopes to set them free. One by one, the team leave the cell, and they leave Damien all by himself. As the sun sets on Gotham, the sound of punches and kicks can be heard from a small warehouse on the shores of the city. But with each hit that finds its mark, Damien thinks to himself that Batman was right. Well, partly. Fear is his biggest weapon, believing it's enough to keep criminals in the line. It is a powerful weapon, but not when it is only used halfway. As one of the thugs is knocked across the room, Damien pauses, asking, "Why are you here?" And the voice tells him that first, he is welcome, and second, it's because he is worried. Superboy floats up above, and Damien says that he should really be focusing on what's happening in the 31st century, not on him. He's busy with the Legion of Superheroes right now. But before Damien could attack him again, Superboy rounds up all the thugs, telling him, "I'm worried about your future. The records for this era are Swiss cheese, rumors, glimpses, but they're all making me anxious." After Damien finishes tying everyone up, Superboy pulls him aside, telling him, "I'm worried, like, really worried. Is everything okay, Damien?" Damien looks Superboy in the eyes and then turns, telling him, "I'm fine. I am not afraid of the future or the past." Meanwhile, over at Mercy Hall, Red Arrow finishes examining some of the dirt left behind by the killer in Brother Blood's lair, stating that it would seem that the person who killed Brother Blood wanted to be caught. When Kid Flash questions how she knew that, Red Arrow tells him that there's been some evidence left behind. And after calling everyone to Mercy Hall, Roundhouse says that this just seems personal. Crush says, "Personally, I'm glad that Brother Blood never got the chance. I just wish that I was the one who punched his ticket." Kid Flash tells her that actually, based on the evidence, it was them. And Red Arrow specifies that it seems that it was Robin. Everyone stands in silence for a moment. The leader that they had formerly, the one that they kicked out. And Roundhouse says, "No, that's not Robin. He wouldn't." But speaking of potential actions from Damien, it did catch the eye of the world's greatest detective and his father. Batman quickly picks up a clue at Wayne Manor and quietly says, "Damien, what are you planning, son?" Later that night at the docks in New York, Damien sits atop of another warehouse watching a group of men getting off a ship, preparing to make a trade. He tells himself that this city will become one where the crime has consequences, where criminals will live in fear, not the people. A world without crime, no more hiding. No more hiding from who I am, or what needs to be done. Damien watches KG Beast in the middle of a deal, stating that this man gave Nightwing amnesia from a near-fatal headshot, which we covered in our Batman storyline in which Nightwing was shot in the head. In return, Batman broke KG's back, and yet here he stands, alive. But tonight, that ends. Damien begins to get himself in position, but as he draws his sword, a voice says for him to stop. He turns back, and Damien sees the rest of the Teen Titans, and Red Arrow tells him that it's over. He crossed the line. Murder isn't the answer. She learned that the hard way. But Damien stops them. It wasn't murder. It was a message. Fear is the message. Until they fear what can be done to them, they'll never stop. None of it stops until But before Damien could finish, Roundhouse punches him, yelling, "You monster! All I wanted was to be a hero, a Teen Titan, and you corrupted it! You ruined it! You ruined everything!" As everyone else joins into the attack, Damien dodges, telling them all, "I ruined nothing. I only offer the truth." He jumps down into the alleyway, and KG Beast sees him and begins to open fire. "All good. Now I hurt all of Bat's boys." Damien pulls out his sword, slashing into KG Beast's chest, telling him, "Your hurting days are over!" But while Damien is engaging him, the rest of the Teen Titans quickly jump in to intervene. However, while fighting KG Beast, Damien manages to outmaneuver his team, and he makes one slice. As Damien's sword cuts through KG Beast's machine gun arm, he tells everyone, "This isn't over until they all fear me!" Damien then grabs the fallen gun, pointing it at KG Beast, with KG Beast telling him, "You one's going for justice. You're doing this for your Bat comrade." Damien tells him, "I'm doing this for..." But before he could pull the trigger, Kid Flash runs in, grabbing KG Beast, telling him, "You're not doing anything." Damien yells for Kid Flash, "You cannot run from this! You cannot run from me!" But at that moment, Crush punches Damien in the back of the head, telling him, "We ain't running." As Red Arrow attacks, Damien leaps out of the way, telling them, "What are you doing?" And Roundhouse tells him that he needs help. They all need help, to be honest. Damien charges in, headbutting Roundhouse, telling him, "I need you to see the truth!" As the fight goes on, Damien seems to be winning, with Red Arrow managing to get one good crack in, and Crush grabbing him, telling him, "It's time to run the bulls." As Roundhouse picks himself back up, he tells Damien, "I'm sorry for this," and then he runs straight into him, launching him into the wall. Damien's confused, disoriented, and he begins to cough. "I see how it is. I have my answer. You're not ready." He throws a flash bomb to the ground, and as Red Arrow yells for him not to get away, they quickly realize that it's too late and Robin has left. Meanwhile, over at the remains of Janus Cosmetics, the prisoners that were once held by Damien gather. Gizmo, Mammoth, Swerve, Joystick, Black Mask all sit in a room, and Joystick says that this is personal. Why don't they just do this themselves? And Gizmo tells him that this job isn't really any of their expertise, and Black Mask adds that that's true. They want the job done right. So who better to kill the Teen Titans than Deathstroke? Back in the city, the team breaks off into pairs looking for Damien, but when they come up with nothing, they all begin to head back to Mercy Hall. Except when they get back, they find Damien standing outside. Damien tries to explain what he was doing, giving his motives, that he just wanted them all to fear him. But Red Arrow, Crush, and Roundhouse all take their turns hitting Robin, and in the end, Kid Flash tells him that they're here to help him, and that help starts with bringing him in. As Damien gets back up, a voice calls out, telling them all, "It's over." Batman looms over them, telling them, "The Teen Titans are finished." But then his gaze turns to Damien and he tells him, "You're the one who killed Brother Blood, and you would have killed KG Beast if your teammates hadn't stopped you. It started with holding criminals against their will, wiping their minds, and all of them followed blindly." Damien tells him that they were doing what he was taught to do, that which Batman fails to do himself. "The criminals, they no longer fear you, Father! They fear the Teen Titans now." Batman looks at the team and sees their obvious unease with Damien's recent decisions, but then Red Arrow steps forward and tells him that the only ones who fear him is them. They've gone too far. She's gone too far. She killed Deathstroke. There's no running from this, no running from the truth. The Teen Titans, they're finished. Damien scoffs as he turns his back. "You're all just like him. You're all too afraid." Batman stands in Damien's way. "You are right. I am afraid. Afraid of losing." But before he could finish, the explosion goes off, knocking everyone back, and on top of the building, Deathstroke smiles. "Now the fun begins." He jumps down, pulling Damien's cape from the rubble, telling him, "You can run all you want, but there's no running from me." Red Arrow pulls himself out of the debris, asking, "Deathstroke, how are you alive? Where is everyone? Where's Kid Flash?" As Kid Flash gets up, Red Arrow runs over, hugging him, telling him, Wait, how is Deathstroke alive?" Crush asks, "Right, how can we kill him again?" Red Arrow stops her, telling her, "No, that's Robin's way. The Teen Titans don't kill." And then Batman tells them, "Correct, because there's no Teen Titans. Go home. I'm gonna handle Deathstroke." A few streets over, Damien runs into an abandoned warehouse, yelling, "Show yourself! It's the two of us!" Deathstroke leaps out of the shadows with his swords, telling them, "It's just us, so it's time to finish things, boy." As Deathstroke swings, Damien dodges, but is kicked in the back onto a set of stairs. Damien catches himself as a hidden blade pops out of his boot, stating, "Red Arrow thought she killed you, but I'm gonna make sure you stay dead this time." Damien launches himself back, digging the blade into Deathstroke's stomach, kicking him out the window and into the alleyway. He laughs, telling him, "You were always my favorite, Robin, because you weren't afraid of getting your hands dirty. As Damian jumps down, Deathstroke quickly gets up, punching into Damian over and over again, knocking him to the ground. He then pulls out his sword, telling him, "You've had a good run, but we both know how it always ends for Robins." But before he could bring that sword down, a voice calls out to him and Kid Flash tells him, "You may have won the first round, but how about we go round 2, Deathstroke?" Crush crashes into the ground, narrowly missing Deathstroke, and Damian yells for them all to fall back. Leave them. This fight is not for the weak. Crush gets back up, telling him, "A simple thanks for saving my ass wouldn't hurt." Damian runs back fighting Deathstroke, and Red Arrow yells that they have a chance to fix this. It starts by bringing them both in. With Deathstroke's attention focused on Damian, Crush runs in, tackling into him, but as she gets ready to finish things, Deathstroke grabs the dumpster that he was thrown into, bashing Crush with it. Deathstroke then gets up, charging into Red Arrow, telling her, "It's time we end this game." And as he does, Damian tells him, "I couldn't agree more," and he slashes into Deathstroke's back with his own sword. Damian swings again, making cut after cut, telling him, "Tonight you die! We can put you away and it'll end nothing. You'll break free and kill again and again and again." Damian jumps up to land the finishing blow, but Red Arrow jumps in to block it with her bow, telling him, "No!" But the force in the sword pushes through, cutting into Red Arrow's shoulder. Kid Flash quickly runs through, grabbing her, but Red Arrow tells him that she's fine. Deathstroke and Crush scoffs, telling them, "Great, he already vanished." Roundhouse then says that now they have blood on their hands and a target on their backs. "Thanks to you, Robin." Damian stands there with a bloody sword, but before he could speak, Batman jumps down, telling him, "I don't know why this is happening, but it needs to stop. This isn't you. Put the blade down before this goes too far." Damian looks at Batman, thinking back to the times with Alfred. He begins to walk forward, walking the same steps he did when he went to Alfred. And as he gets close, he punches Batman in the mouth. He keeps swinging, but as Batman deflects the attacks, he tells him, "Please, it's time to come home, Damian." Damian breaks through the defenses, asking him, "Home? What home? Wayne Manor? It's a coffin! There's nothing in that tomb that'll change my mind. If you just open up your eyes, you would see that there's nothing for you either. There will not be another lecture in those empty halls. I will not stop. This is the only logical conclusion to the path that I set on so many years ago. We've sent criminals to these jails and asylums to do what? To get the same results over and over. Why can't you see that? Why aren't you fighting back? Why? Because I love you. And you're right, I have failed. I failed to you." Damian thinks back to Alfred's final moments and how he watched Bane end his life. Everything led to this. Damian grabs the Robin badge from his costume, ripping it off in one hard pull. He hands the badge to Batman and he tells him, "You'll never truly see me as long as I remain in the shadows. And now I am finally free." It's been some time without Damian leading the Teen Titans, but that hasn't stopped the remaining members from cleaning up the mistakes they all contributed to. All of the brainwashed villains regained their memories and are back on the streets, so it's time to put them away for good. But it also helps when you have a future Superboy making sure things are done the right way. As the team closes in on Mammoth, Crush makes it very clear that they do not need Jonathan's help. And Jonathan flies in, punching Mammoth, telling her that so long as they're chasing down leads to Damian, he's going to be there. He wants to know what happened to his friend. Mammoth groans, attacking, stating that they are out of control. The only thing dirty around here is them. And it's about time they heard from his sister. Shimmer powers herself up, stating that they had no right to do that thing where they wiped their minds and made them think there was someone else. And Crush quickly cracks Shimmer, telling her that that thing is a person, a friend, and you're gonna say you're sorry. But before Crush could swing again, Jonathan tells her that it's over. If these two were really dealing in human trafficking, then they need to take care of that first. Across the warehouse, Jonathan sees a vault door and he rips it open, but what he sees shocks even him. Inside the sealed vault is nothing. Nothing but a note addressed to Jonathan. As he picks it up, he reads it, and everyone asks, what did it say? Was it from Damian? John burns the note with his heat vision, and he picks up Mammoth and Shimmer and states that he will take care of these two. They should all. But Red Arrow stops him, asking, what did Damian's note say? Superboy! And as he flies off, he says that they all should have known all along. They are never finding Damian. Later, the team steps back to take a much-needed break, and without Mercy Hall, everyone has to find a way to live again. With nowhere else to really even go, Crush bunks up with Roundhouse at Mama Woo's. The two play video games, but when Roundhouse finds himself on a losing streak, Crush asks what's wrong. He sighs and he says that it's been fun now that they're all back together and that they're doing the right thing. But they aren't really friends, are they? Not after what he did, not after his betrayal. Everything that happened with Jin, it was his fault. And they all cared about her and he ruined that. Crush tells him that she isn't really good with this whole emotions thing. But she can see that he made a mistake and that he's trying to make up for it. As for Jin, well, Jin made her own decision. And they have to respect that. Unlike them, Jin was actually an adult. Well, sort of anyway. All they can do now is hope that she is happy, wherever she is. Meanwhile, over at the fair, Red Arrow says that he's gotta be kidding. And Kid Flash says, why not? It's fun. Also, I really want the giant bear. But if you're too afraid that you're not as good with a BB gun as a bow, she snatches the airsoft gun and proceeds to knock down every target. And as the two leave, Kid Flash carries his new giant panda plush. Red Arrow asks, so this is what teens do? Is this what they would call a date? Kid Flash nervously laughs it off. Yeah, kind of. Usually you ask someone out to make it official, and Red Arrow laughs, so? Make it official. Kid Flash begins to ask if she would like to go out with him, and as he opens up his eyes, he finds himself alone. He looks around asking if that's a no, and a red arrow whizzes by, followed by several more. But before Kid Flash could ask what's going on, one of the arrows manages to strike him from behind, and then he gets cracked in the head with a bow. A voice through Red Arrow says, young love, sorry to say, you'll never know her answer, but don't worry, I have plans for you and Red Arrow. A hand reaches out, touching Kid Flash, and he blinks and his eyes turn red, and a voice continues to state, these idiots sent Deathstroke after you, but he took the money and ran. From what I've seen, the only way to tear apart the Teen Titans is with the Teen Titans. And as Joystick finishes, he begins to laugh as Red Arrow and Kid Flash fall in line behind him. A short while later, back in New York, Crush and Roundhouse sneak into a building looking for the others when they see Red Arrow and Kid Flash snarling at them. Before Crush could react, Kid Flash begins running, hitting her, and Joystick asks if she knows what Kid Flash really thinks of her. She's strong but unstable, and it makes her weak. And Roundhouse, well, Red Arrow has some pretty strong feelings about him. She felt that he wasn't ready for any of this. Red Arrow fires an electric arrow, shocking Roundhouse, but as his suit fails, she then springs a net, capturing him, and Joystick says, and I gotta say, I agree. Joystick runs in, kicking Crush in the stomach, asking, you thought it was a joke? This is my castle. I own this building now, and soon I'll be king. Crush starts to pick herself back up, and she looks at Red Arrow, stating that she knows that this isn't her. We've stopped Joystick before. Red Arrow pulls back on her bow, points the arrow at Crush's head, and Crush stops. Please! The arrow is released, shooting by Crush's head and into Kid Flash, sending a massive shockwave throughout the entire building. As he falls, Joystick scratches his head. Wow, I actually felt that. And Red Arrow tells everyone to be ready. She's switching to explosive arrows. She begins to fire, but as the arrows miss Kid Flash, Joystick says that she should be careful. You had your shot and you missed. Red Arrow says that he should know her by now. She doesn't miss. Soon the arrows explode, taking out the support beams, and the entire building begins to come crashing down. As the dust settles, Red Arrow quickly crawls out of the debris over to see Kid Flash and check on him. And she notices that his heart isn't beating. In a panic, she screams out, what do we do? And Kid Flash begins to cough, stating that they can't hear his heartbeat because he breathes so fast. It also beats extra fast when she's... But before he could finish, she pulls him in by the costume, giving him a kiss. Crush and Roundhouse laugh and then point. Finally! They should probably... yeah. Leaving the two lovebirds behind, Crush and Roundhouse look through the building and find another vault. Crush tears the door off to find an empty room for another note, but this one is addressed Titans. As the sun comes up, the police come to take Joystick away, and Crush asks, what now? Every criminal that has had its mind wiped has been brought to justice. And Roundhouse asks, did we really fix things? Without Damien, how can we really know that this is all over? What's with the random cryptic numbers on that piece of paper? Red Arrow tells him that they aren't random. They're coordinates. One last location from Damian Wayne. He may have given up on being a Titan, but he's not given up on toying with them. Roundhouse asks if she thinks that he's here. And Red Arrow says there's only one way to find out, so the Teen Titans follow the last coordinates left by their leader, Robin. What they find isn't Damian Robin, but Nightwing. Roundhouse asks if it's really him, and Nightwing gives a normal Nightwing Dick Grayson smirk as he says, looks like we both got a note from Damian. The League didn't approve of you guys, the Titans that is. You were forced to shut down. But Damien had an idea, a suggestion for both of us. As for goodbyes, well, this actually gives him some hope. Red Arrow says, hope for who? And Nightwing shrugs. Maybe Damien, but definitely the Teen Titans. As for this, maybe we can work together. I can certainly offer you guys a home, and there's a chance that we can make things right for you, but only if you guys want it. I'm not Damien. I'm not gonna force you to do anything. And if you don't want to, then I simply will wish you the best. So how about it? The Teen Titans all look at each other, and they smile as they look back at Nightwing. And Nightwing motions back, revealing the rest of the Titans, stating, all right, Teen Titans, I'd like to welcome you all to Titans Tower. And there you have it, Teen Titans Rebirth, right here at the Comicstorian channel. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for your patience and sticking it out with us. You're allowed to go to your local store and get yourself a free cookie. It's not necessarily free, but if you tell them I sent you, you still won't get a free cookie. So I don't recommend stealing a cookie, but you know what? You did earn yourself a cookie, so maybe you can find one somewhere out there. If you want to support this channel and keep these videos coming, please consider going to our Patreon, as it's the supporters over at Patreon that keep the lights on here in the office. Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you next time right here.